prosecutors can do basically whatever the fuck they want.
If a police officer arrests a person on the street, they can only recommend charges to the prosecutor. The prosecutor can decide to take it, and prosecute the case, or they can dismiss it, charge the felony. But they also can just simply charge a misdemeanor. They have the discretion to do any of those things, and they do not have to explain those decisions to a judge or anyone else. It's made behind closed doors.
Wow, even the president has to run his decisions by the wizard he thinks lives inside his TV. Prosecutors' power to determine charges has a profound effect on the criminal justice system.
What is driving prison growth more than anything else is an increased willingness on the part of prosecutors to send people to prison in the first place. The number of arrests since 1991 has gone down. And during that same period of time, the number of felony cases filed in state court rose by about 40%. Fewer and fewer people going in, more and more people being filed with felony charges.
Oh my God, he talks so fast. It's like someone told him, you have 5 minutes and 6 Red Bulls to explain the criminal justice system. Go! And prosecutors' influence doesn't stop there. After setting charges, prosecutors can bypass the trial altogether by encouraging the defendant to take a plea bargain. A plea bargain is kind of like a trial, except the prosecutor is the judge and jury and the audience, and it's literally nothing like a trial. But it replaces one a lot more often than you think.
If you watch any of the mini Law and Order shows, you think all of these trials are going on? Not so in the criminal justice system. 95% of all criminal cases are resolved by way of a guilty plea.
Of course Law and Order is a fantasy, as if we're supposed to believe there are entire police units who actually investigate rape. Why are 95% of defendants pleading guilty? Is it because cops are just super good at only arresting people who actually did it and are also super honest? I'm gonna go with no. It's because prosecutors pressure people out of going to a trial.
There's this phenomenon of overcharging. Tell you what, says the prosecutor, I'll make you a deal. I'll allow you to plead to one of these 10-year mandatory minimum offenses, and I'll dismiss the other 4. You can see how even an innocent person would plead guilty.
The Supreme Court says you can threaten anything you want during a plea bargain deal, short of death.
You can do anything but death shouldn't be a legal strategy. It should be the tagline for a new Chuck Lorre show about a lawyer who's also a vampire. At this point, you're probably asking yourself, why are we letting this happen? And the reason is to cut down on the time and expense of court cases. But while plea bargains help clear judges' caseloads, they are keeping prisons full. Unsurprisingly, prosecutors use their discretion to charge people of color more harshly and more often. I mean, I guess we shouldn't be surprised because in 13 states, elected prosecutors are exclusively white. 79% of prosecutors are white men, and nationwide, an overwhelming 95% of prosecutors are white. 95% white, that's luge numbers. Putting all white men in charge of stuff is never a great idea. They tend to cook up awful things like Entourage and Jim Crow and the Entourage movie. But surely they're subject to strict oversight, I mean, right?
Now, if you look at every reform bill that's been passed nationwide so far, I can tell you exactly how many of them have actually directly targeted this kind of prosecutorial discretion. None. Not a single state has sought to regulate it directly.
Just to put that into perspective, there are 0 states with laws in place limiting prosecutorial discretion, but 5 states in which bestiality is legal. Hawaii, huh? I wonder why. Oh, yeah, dolphins. And in the words of Vance, it's legal. So let me get this straight. Everyone's been trying to solve racial disparities in the justice system for years, and no one noticed that almost all of the people doing the overcharging are white men? How did we not notice that many white people doing a thing? We had one black Hermione and people flipped out. Notice saying all prosecutors are bad. They have a difficult job to do, but maybe we should be paying a little bit more attention to how they're doing it, because judges and legislatures are not. And technically, we're their boss since we elect some of them, and we're Americans, so of course we all pay super close attention to those elections and totally do a ton of research into the records before we pick which of the one candidate we want to vote for. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention, 85% of prosecutors run unopposed, including fucking Vance. Because why ruin all this nice impunity with the slightest bit of punity? This year, there are 1,000 DA races. Let's pay attention to them. Someone should. We'll be right back.